Philip Dunne.
Mr. Speaker, and it's a pleasure to follow the Honourable Lady for Aberdeen North, because it gives me the opportunity gently to point out to her that she represents a party which is presiding over part of the United Kingdom with the highest rates of personal taxation across the UK, and she doesn't seem to understand that you can address cost of living pressures for those in work by cutting taxes, as the Chancellor has just done for 27 million people in this country, and by cutting the national insurance rate by 2 pence next month on top of the 2 pence cut this January. This will make a material difference for families across the country, and in particular in South Shropshire, and it sets the clear direction of travel for lower rates of personal taxation in the future under the next Conservative government. Combined with the above inflation increases to thresholds. No, I'm afraid I have no time. The Deputy Speaker has been very strict. Since 2010, the average South Shropshire worker now earns £34,500, and in the next fiscal year will pay over £1,500 less in personal taxes than they otherwise would have done had the government only increased thresholds in line with inflation. So I welcome what's been done there, and also by raising the threshold and halving the rate at which higher income child benefit is withdrawn, so that by April of 2026, the Chancellor will have ended the unfairness for single earner families. Those who are over 65 years old, and I declare my interest, comprise 31% of South Shropshire's residents, compared to 18% nationally. So pension incomes are of particular importance to my constituents. And thanks to maintaining the triple lock, the full annual amount of the basic state pension is £3,700 higher in cash terms than in 2010. The triple lock increased the state pension by 10.1% this year and will increase by a further 8.5% next month. So, in addition, the tax-free personal allowance at £12,570 remains high enough that a pensioner only receiving a full basic or new state pension will not pay any tax on this income. That is a significant advance for pensioners than the legacy left by the Labour Party when they were in office. My constituents are a very rural place, and most people have to rely on cars for their transport, so extending the fuel duty-frees will help keep fuel costs lower than they otherwise would have been, and alcohol duty-freezing and extending the business rates relief will significantly help the hubs of our communities in rural areas, which are our pubs. As a farmer, I was also very pleased that the Chancellor listened to calls from farming organisations and the Conservative Environment Network, of which I'm a member, to address the anomalous disincentive under which agricultural property relief was not available to land being entered into some natural capital land use schemes. This is a welcome correction. I'd like to touch briefly, in the remaining moments I have, to the work of the Environmental Audit Committee, and as that related to the budget. I was very pleased to see that the Government has committed that the next Contracts for Difference, 6th round for renewable energy projects, will get the largest funding allocation to date, with over £1 billion available. The Government, and I'm pleased to see the Energy Minister in his place, has clearly learned lessons from the previous round, recognising that prevailing market conditions will, I hope, inject commercial realism into the UK's approach to this increasingly competitive global market. But while support for renewable energy production is welcome on the path to decarbonising the economy, it cannot happen in isolation. And as part of our current inquiry into enabling sustainable electrification of the UK economy, it is clear that electricity infrastructure, including transmission, distribution and storage, will also have to increase materially to handle the increased generation capacity which will be required to meet the increased demand. And it was very good to see this recognised in the budget, building on the energy system announcements last autumn to reform grid access, so that since November, over 40 gigawatts of energy projects have been offered earlier grid connection dates, accelerating and modernising the system to allow more renewable energy projects to connect more quickly. And while not wishing to preempt the conclusions of our current inquiry, the Government is bringing forward measures both to remove barriers to infrastructure investment and at the same time developing important guidance to encourage better community benefit for those who might be affected. Just turning to the other energy announcement, I was very pleased by the progress for the acquisition of nuclear energy sites from Hitachi, both in my honourable friend for Innis Mons constituency and at the Oldbury site in South Gloucestershire. I'd written on behalf of our committee raising concerns about the pace of progress and had called on the government in a debate 2 weeks before the budget on the civil nuclear roadmap for progress on site selection. And those of you who were up early enough this morning will have heard the chair of Great British Nuclear, Simon Bowen, announce that Great British Nuclear now envisages also taking 2 small modular reactor projects through to final investment decision in the next Parliament, which is a welcome breakthrough. Finally, I would just like to welcome the further clarity on the carbon border adjustment mechanism, first confirmed in December, which will be introduced from January 2027. Our committee did a significant amount of work on this, and which I hope the Minister might recognise in laying the groundwork for this policy. By giving a date to which industry can plan, they will have the confidence to invest in decarbonisation efforts, knowing that a carbon border adjustment mechanism at the border will mean that less environmentally harmful products will be manufactured here, and we can reduce imports so that the UK investments in decarbonising by our manufacturers can't be undercut through weaker environmental standards. This was a thoughtful, prudent budget which will generate lower taxation for individuals over time and will grow the economy under the Conservatives. Yeah.